Sometimes, we don't understand why certain people suddenly leave our lives. We question, we cry, we beg God for answers, wondering, why did they go? Why did they turn their back on me? But what if I told you that their removal was not rejection, it was redirection? God removed them because they were blocking your destiny. You prayed for His blessing, you asked Him to take you higher, but to elevate you, He first had to separate you. There are people, seasons, and connections that look right in your eyes but are wrong for your future. They seem supportive, but deep inside, they carry jealousy, distraction, or doubt. And God, in His love, will not allow someone to sit close to you when their heart is working against your purpose. That's why, when some people left, it wasn't punishment, it was protection. You might have cried over their absence, but heaven was celebrating your deliverance. You see, sometimes, the blessing you're asking for requires a new environment. You cannot walk into your promised land holding hands with everyone from your past. Some people were only assigned to your beginning, not your breakthrough. They were there to teach you lessons, not to walk with you into destiny. And if you keep holding on to those who have already completed their purpose in your story, you will delay your own progress. God saw conversations you didn't hear. He saw plans you didn't know about. He saw hearts pretending to be loyal while secretly hoping for your failure. That's why He allowed certain people to drift away, certain relationships to break, certain opportunities to close. Because He knows what you don't. He sees what you can't. And when He removes something, it's never to leave you empty, it's to make room for what's divine, pure, and destined. The truth is, destiny requires pruning. Just as a gardener cuts off branches that don't bear fruit, God cuts off attachments that don't align with your future. He doesn't do it to hurt you but to shape you. The pain of separation often precedes the peace of transformation. You may feel lonely for a moment, but in that silence, God is preparing a new season, a divine connection, and a greater purpose. Every time someone walks away, you must remind yourself, maybe they couldn't go where I'm going. Not everyone is built for the level you're about to step into. Some people loved you for where you were, not for where you're headed. When your calling starts to rise, when God begins to elevate you, those with smaller vision can't handle it. They start to distance themselves, criticize you, or misunderstand your faith. But that's okay. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Look at the story of Abraham. God told him to leave his family, his country, and everything familiar to step into the unknown. Why? Because where he was couldn't carry what God wanted to do through him. Separation was necessary for transformation. The same God who called Abraham away is calling you away from some people, places, and patterns that are no longer part of your divine blueprint. And yes, it hurts. The people you once trusted may betray you. The friends you thought would celebrate your victory may stay silent. The support you expected may vanish. But don't misinterpret the silence. It's God's signal that He's moving you. He's removing distractions, cleansing your path, and aligning you with your true destiny. What feels like loss is actually preparation. What feels like ending is the beginning of something holy. Maybe that relationship ended because God saw it would break you later. Maybe that job didn't work out because He was saving you from compromise. Maybe those friends walked away because they were feeding your old identity, not your new one. You prayed for God's will, didn't you? Then let Him work. Let Him prune. Let Him remove. You cannot ask for divine elevation and then complain about divine separation. Sometimes God closes doors so you'll stop trying to fit where you no longer belong. You've outgrown certain atmospheres. You've matured beyond certain conversations. You can't sit in the same circle when your spirit has shifted. The old version of you cannot walk into the new season God is preparing. That's why He isolates before He elevates. He pulls you away to pull you up. There will be moments when you feel like you're losing everything, but you're not losing, you're being realigned. Destiny demands distance from what drains your purpose. If they were meant to stay, God would have anchored them. But He didn't. He allowed the exit because He knew their presence was blocking your progress. Don't chase what He's replaced. Don't mourn over what He's moved. What's gone was not greater than what's coming. God knows the plans He has for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. But those plans require peace, focus, and faith. And sometimes, certain people disturb that peace. They speak doubt when you need faith. They plant fear when you need courage. They distract you from prayer, from discipline, from growth. So, in His mercy, God steps in and removes them, not because He hates them, but because He loves you too much to let you miss your destiny. Your destiny is too precious to be delayed by disloyalty. Your calling is too high to be clouded by confusion. When God removes someone, it's divine surgery. He cuts away what's toxic to heal what's holy. The wound may hurt, but healing will follow. And when it does, you'll look back and thank Him for every goodbye, every closed door. You might not see it now, but one day you'll understand why certain people had to go. You'll realize that if they had stayed, you'd still be stuck in the same patterns, same fears, same level. God used their absence to activate your growth. Their departure made space for your destiny to breathe. It forced you to depend not on people, but on Him. And in that dependency, you discovered strength, purpose, and identity. Don't be bitter toward those who left. Bless them and release them. Forgive them and move forward. Some people's purpose was to teach you how to trust God when nothing makes sense. Their betrayal taught you discernment. Their silence taught you self-worth. Their departure taught you surrender. Every pain carried a purpose. When God removes someone, it's not a punishment, it's preparation for promotion. Joseph's brothers betrayed him, but their rejection positioned him for royalty. Judas betrayed Jesus, but that betrayal led to resurrection. The same God who turned pain into purpose then is doing the same now. The very thing that broke you is the thing God will use to bless you. Sometimes, He will empty your life to fill it with something better. He will silence certain voices so you can hear His more clearly. He will close some doors so you stop depending on people and start depending on Him. You asked God to guide you, and He answered by cleaning your circle. Don't resist the cleansing. Every removal is making room for renewal. When you finally step into the next season, you'll look around and realize, those who left couldn't handle this level. They weren't ready for the weight of your calling. God had to separate you before He could showcase you. He had to take you through isolation before revelation. You are not forgotten, you are being refined. So stop asking, why did they leave? And start declaring, God, thank you for guiding me. Because if they were meant for you, they couldn't have left. Destiny connections don't disconnect, they align. The ones God has for you will recognize your purpose, support your growth, and walk beside you without envy or resistance. Wait for those divine alignments. Every divine removal carries a hidden blessing. That person who walked away created space for peace. That rejection made you pray harder. That heartbreak taught you surrender. That silence became your sanctuary. You didn't lose anything, you gained clarity. You gained strength. You gained faith. So today, instead of mourning who left, celebrate what's next. Lift your hands and say, Lord, I trust you. Even when I don't understand, I know you're working for my good. Because everything and everyone that leaves your life under God's plan is a setup for something greater. He's not taking from you, He's taking you somewhere. Your destiny is sacred. Guard it. Protect it. Don't let temporary people distract you from eternal purpose. The ones who left were not meant to handle your future, they were only part of your history. And history can't go where destiny is leading. Let go, and let God. Because when God removes someone, it's not the end of your story, it's the unfolding of His glory. There are moments in your journey when you will look around and realize everything has changed. The people, the energy, even the atmosphere around you. It almost feels like God pressed a reset button on your life. And you wonder, why now? Why all at once? But the truth is, God doesn't reset your life to ruin it. He resets it to realign it. When your spirit is out of sync with your purpose, God begins to rearrange things to bring you back into divine alignment. The removal of people, the shifting of relationships, and even the loss of certain opportunities are not signs of abandonment. They are signs of alignment. You might feel like you're standing in a season of emptiness, But emptiness is not the end, it's preparation for fullness. God can only fill what's been emptied. That's why He allowed those connections to end, why He made certain doors close, and why He let certain hearts drift away. Because if your life was still full of what was blocking your destiny, there would be no space for what He's bringing next. God's plan always involves separation before elevation. Look through the Bible. Before every great move of God, there was always a moment of separation. Moses had to leave Egypt before he could lead Israel. David had to be alone in the fields before he could stand on the throne. Even Jesus withdrew to lonely places to pray before He performed miracles. Separation is not isolation, it's preparation. It's in that quiet space that God shapes your character, heals your heart, and strengthens your faith. And sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to stop chasing what God has already released. You keep wondering if they'll come back, if the situation will fix itself, if the door will open again. But when God says it's over, no amount of human effort can resurrect it. Don't resurrect what God has already buried. There's a reason He allowed it to end. If you keep holding on to what He removed, you're not only blocking your destiny, you're resisting His will. There's a sacred peace that comes when you finally accept that certain people's chapter in your life has closed. You can love them, honor the memories, and still move forward. Not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. Some people are seasonal teachers, not lifelong partners. They come to impart a lesson, reveal a weakness, or awaken a new strength in you. Once that lesson is complete, God moves them out of the way because He knows that staying connected to them would delay your growth. When you start walking with purpose, your path begins to narrow. You can't take everyone with you, not because they're bad people, but because their energy, focus, and faith don't match the level God is calling you to. Elevation always demands separation. If your life feels like it's being stripped, it's because God is lightening your load. You're about to go higher, and you can't climb with unnecessary weight. So stop mourning what left. Start thanking God for what's being prepared. Every loss carries a seed of purpose. Every goodbye opens the door for a new beginning. And every person who walked away created space for divine connection. The pain you feel today will soon become the wisdom you share tomorrow. It's easy to say, "God, I trust you," when everything is working. But real faith is proven when everything falls apart, and you still say, "God, I trust you." Faith means believing that even in loss, He's working behind the scenes. He's protecting you from unseen traps, from wrong influences, from paths that look good but lead to destruction. You may not understand it now, but soon you'll look back and realize, every removal was mercy in disguise. God is not just the God of addition, He's also the God of subtraction. We love when He adds blessings, people, and opportunities. But when He starts subtracting, we panic. Yet, subtraction is often the pathway to multiplication. When God removes, He's making room to multiply what's truly meant for you. Just like a farmer clears the field before planting new seeds, God clears your circle before planting new purpose. Don't let loneliness trick you into going back to what God already delivered you from. Loneliness is not a sign to return. It's a sign to refocus. Use that space to grow closer to Him, to rediscover your worth, to renew your mind. Sometimes God isolates you because He wants you to recognize His voice again. You've been listening to too many opinions, depending on too many people, and He needs your heart's attention. When you are walking into destiny, discernment becomes your best friend. Not everyone who smiles at you is sent by God. Not everyone who praises you is for you. Some people come wrapped in kindness but carry confusion. That's why God removes them before they can poison your peace. You may think it's rejection, but it's actually redirection, a divine detour away from destruction. Think of it like this: if God didn't remove certain people, you would have never discovered your strength. You would still be leaning on them instead of leaning on Him. Their exit forced your independence, their absence deepened your prayer life, and their silence taught you how to hear God for yourself. Sometimes their leaving was the only way you could grow. And as you move forward, don't be surprised if God continues to prune your path. Each new level demands new clarity. You might have to say goodbye again, to habits, environments, or even versions of yourself that no longer serve your purpose. Spiritual growth is not just about gaining wisdom, it's about shedding what no longer fits. You can't wear yesterday's mindset and expect to walk into tomorrow's miracle. God is transforming you, not just your surroundings. The same way gold must go through fire to shine, your destiny must go through divine refinement. Every removal is a part of that refining process. You're not losing, you're becoming. And while others might misunderstand your journey, remember, destiny is personal. What God reveals to you, He may not reveal to them. So don't expect everyone to understand your decisions, your isolation, or your silence. When God removes, He also hides you. He hides you until the right time, the right place, and the right people are aligned with your assignment. There's a verse that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do after someone leaves is to be still. Don't rush to replace them. Don't chase explanations. Just be still. In stillness, clarity comes. In stillness, healing begins. And in stillness, God reveals that what you thought was loss was actually liberation. The enemy wants you to believe that the absence of people equals the absence of purpose. But that's a lie. Purpose doesn't depend on people, it depends on God. When He called you, He already calculated who would stay and who would leave. No betrayal, no departure, no silence caught Him by surprise. He knew it all, and He planned for it. That's why even when they walk away, your destiny doesn't walk with them. It stays with you. Every storm you've endured, every tear you've cried, every disappointment you've faced, none of it is wasted. God is weaving it all into a story of redemption. You might feel broken, but He's building you. You might feel lost, but He's leading you. You might feel empty, but He's about to fill you. He removed the wrong ones so He could make space for the right ones. The next chapter of your life will make sense of everything that didn't before. The tears, the heartbreaks, the sudden endings, all of it will connect like puzzle pieces. You'll look back and say, "If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here." Because destiny doesn't make sense in the moment, it's revealed in hindsight. So keep trusting. Keep walking. Even if the road feels lonely, even if the path feels uncertain. Remember, you're not walking alone. The same God who removed them is walking beside you, whispering, "I have something better." He's guiding you to divine appointments, to real connections, to purpose-filled relationships that will lift you, not limit you. The next people God brings into your life will not compete with your calling, they will complement it. They will pray with you, not prey on you. They will encourage your faith, not question it. They will celebrate your success, not envy it. These are divine alignments, kingdom connections that push you deeper into your destiny. But before those people come, God must ensure you're healed. That's why He allows the pause, the quiet, the waiting. Healing is necessary before elevation. Otherwise, you'll carry old wounds into new seasons. You'll judge new people by old pain. So let God finish the healing work. Let Him rebuild your heart, strengthen your spirit, and restore your faith in love, trust, and purpose. When you heal, you'll see clearly why those removals were necessary. You'll stop asking, "Why?" and start saying, "Thank you." Because every loss was leading you to life. Every closed door was opening a better one. Every goodbye was guiding you closer to God's perfect will. You may not see it yet, but you're on the edge of a new chapter, one filled with peace, purpose, and divine fulfillment. The people who left were part of your story, but not your destiny. Your destiny is still unfolding, and what God is preparing for you will be worth every tear, every loss, every waiting season. Don't give up now. You're closer than you think. Keep your heart pure, your faith strong, and your focus steady. When you stop fighting God's removals, you'll start experiencing His replacements. He never takes without giving better. He never ends without beginning something greater. So lift your head, wipe your tears, and trust His timing. Those who left were never the source, God was. Those who rejected you were never the foundation, God is. Those who hurt you were never the end, God has the final word. Your destiny is too divine to be blocked by temporary people. So let them go, bless them, and move forward. Because God didn't remove them to break you, He removed them to build you, to bless you, and to bring you into the fullness of everything He promised. And when you arrive at that place, that peace, that purpose, that promise, you'll look back and finally understand their departure was the doorway to your destiny. And maybe right now you're standing in that in-between place, not where you were, but not yet where you're going. It feels uncertain, like the middle of a storm. But remember, the middle is where God does His best work. The middle is where faith is built, where trust is tested, and where destiny starts taking shape behind the scenes. You may not see the full picture yet, but God does. He knows exactly what He's doing. He knows which hearts to remove, which doors to close, and which paths to redirect, because He sees what you cannot. When you feel like everything around you is falling apart, understand that things are actually falling into place. The shaking isn't punishment, it's positioning. God shakes things not to destroy you but to settle you on a stronger foundation. The people who left were never meant to handle the weight of your next season. They were part of the process, not the promise. And once their role was complete, God released them so you could move forward unhindered. Some of you are holding on to guilt, blaming yourself for how things ended. But stop carrying the weight of relationships that God Himself ended. It wasn't your fault, it was His protection. He saw conversations you couldn't hear. He saw intentions you couldn't discern. He saw distractions you didn't recognize. When God removes people, He's protecting your destiny from being diluted by what isn't divine. There's a moment that comes when you finally stop asking, "Why did they leave?" and you start thanking God they did. Because with time, you realize their presence was comfortable but not purposeful. You were growing, but they weren't. You were praying for progress, but they were content with the past. God couldn't let you stay tied to something that kept you small. Destiny requires discomfort, and sometimes that discomfort comes through disconnection. When you look at Jesus' life, you'll notice even He experienced removal. Judas had to leave the table before redemption could unfold. If Judas had stayed, the cross would have been delayed. That means even betrayal has a purpose in God's plan. So don't despise those who walked away or those who turned against you. Without their exit, you wouldn't have found your entrance into destiny. Their actions pushed you closer to what God prepared. You are not behind. You are being refined. The world may measure progress by what you gain, but heaven measures it by what you release. The lighter you become, the higher you can rise. So, release the bitterness, release the resentment, release the urge to prove yourself to those who doubted you. God doesn't need you to prove, He needs you to trust. In this season, He's not asking you to chase, He's asking you to choose. Choose peace over chaos, prayer over panic, purpose over people-pleasing. Every time you choose Him, heaven moves on your behalf. Every time you let go of what doesn't serve your destiny, you make room for what does. And soon, what once broke your heart will no longer hurt, it will make sense. You'll wake up one day and realize the peace you feel now was impossible back then. That's how you'll know healing has come. You'll look at the same memories that once made you cry and now say, "God, thank you. You knew what I didn't." Don't rush what God is doing. Sometimes He delays visible blessings to build invisible strength. He's shaping your character to match your calling. Because destiny isn't just about reaching the promise, it's about becoming the person who can handle it. If He gave you everything too soon, it would crush you. That's why the waiting, the removal, and the rebuilding all have purpose. So even when you don't understand, whisper this prayer. "Lord, I trust you even in the unknown." That single sentence carries the power to move mountains. Trust doesn't remove the storm, but it gives you peace within it. And when you stand firm in faith, the same God who removed the wrong people will send the right ones. Those who will walk beside you, pray with you, and protect your destiny with pure hearts. You are stepping into a new season, one where clarity will replace confusion, peace will replace pain, and purpose will replace the emptiness left behind. God hasn't forgotten you. He's simply preparing the right timing. The removal was never rejection, it was redirection to something far greater than you imagined. So stand still. Breathe. Let go. And watch how God turns every loss into light, every ending into evolution, and every removal into revelation. Because what left was never meant to last, and what's coming will never have to leave.